What's up, Wrestle Scope family? Before we even get into this, I need you to prepare yourself, because what I'm about to reveal to you today is going to shake the very foundation of everything you thought you knew about WWE's backstage politics. And I'm warning you right now, this story involves betrayal, corporate cover-ups, secret relationships, and the real reason why one of the most iconic names in wrestling history has been completely erased from WWE programming. We're talking about Shane McMahon, people. Shane McMahon. But here's where it gets absolutely insane. This isn't just about Shane. This is about a current WWE superstar who allegedly got caught in a compromising situation with a top-level WWE official. And the fallout? It's connected to Shane's mysterious disappearance from our screens. Hello, viewers. If you're new here, please don't forget to like and hit the subscribe button for daily updates on WWE Raw. The mysterious disappearance. Let's set the stage here, because if you've been watching WWE over the past couple of years, you've probably asked yourself one crucial question. Where in the world is Shane McMahon? Think about it. Shane O'Mac, the prodigal son. The man who's jumped off every structure WWE has ever built. The guy who came back time and time again to massive pops from the crowd. Royal Rumble appearances, WrestleMania matches, feuds with the biggest names in the business. Shane McMahon was money. Every single time he showed up, ratings went up, merchandise moved, social media exploded. And then, nothing. Radio silence. It's like he fell off the face of the earth. Now, WWE wants you to believe that Shane is just pursuing other business opportunities or spending time with his family. Classic corporate speak, right? The same lines they feed us every time someone disappears from programming and they don't want to tell us the real story. But here's what they don't want you to know. Shane McMahon didn't just walk away. He was pushed out. And the circumstances surrounding his exit are so controversial, so deeply buried in WWE's corporate machinery that they've done everything in their power to keep this under wraps. Multiple sources, and I'm talking about people who were in the room when these decisions were made, have confirmed that Shane had a massive falling out with key members of WWE's executive team. But it wasn't about creative differences, it wasn't about money, it wasn't even about his father, Vince McMahon. It was about loyalty. It was about trust, and it was about Shane discovering something he was never supposed to find out. The alleged affair. Now, before we go any further, I need to make something absolutely clear. What I'm about to discuss involves very serious allegations. These are claims that have been circulating in wrestling journalism circles, whispered about in locker rooms, and discussed behind closed doors at WWE headquarters. According to multiple independent sources within WWE, a current main roster WWE superstar was allegedly involved in an inappropriate relationship with a high-ranking WWE executive. And we are not talking about some mid-level producer or random backstage official. We're talking about someone with serious power, someone who makes decisions about pushes, storylines, and who gets opportunities. Now, I'm not going to name names directly because we're dealing with people's personal lives here. And without concrete, irrefutable proof, throwing out names would be irresponsible. But what I can tell you is that this alleged relationship caused absolute chaos behind the scenes. Think about the implications here. In any professional workplace, a relationship between a person in a position of authority and someone they have direct professional power over is a massive ethical violation. It's a fireable offense in most corporations. It's the kind of thing that leads to lawsuits, investigations, and people losing their careers. But in WWE, apparently it's just another day at the office. Here's where it gets even more twisted. This alleged relationship reportedly went on for months before anyone caught wind of it. And when I say caught wind of it, I mean that other superstars started noticing some very suspicious patterns. Suddenly, this particular superstar was getting opportunities that made absolutely no sense from a booking perspective. Main event spots that should have gone to more established talent. Title opportunities that seemed to come out of nowhere. Favorable storylines that elevated this person above others who'd been grinding for years to get those same chances. And you know what wrestlers are like backstage. They notice everything. They see who's getting pushed and who's being buried. They know when something doesn't add up. And when multiple people started putting two and two together, the locker room erupted. Complaints were filed. Concerns were raised with higher-ups. And according to sources, Shane McMahon, who still had significant influence in the company at the time, started asking questions. Shane started digging, and what he found absolutely disgusted him. Shane's investigation. Shane McMahon is a lot of things, but one thing he's always been is someone who genuinely cares about the integrity of professional wrestling. Say what you want about the McMahon family, but Shane has always had a different perspective than his father and sister. He's wrestled in other promotions, he understands the business from multiple angles, and he's always been someone who stood up for talent when he felt they were being mistreated. So when Shane started hearing rumblings about this alleged affair and the favoritism that came with it, he didn't just brush it under the rug. He started conducting his own internal investigation. Shane reportedly started having private conversations with talent. He looked into booking decisions. He examined the timeline of this superstar's push and compared it to when the alleged relationship began. And according to people close to the situation, the evidence was damning. But here's where the story takes an even darker turn. When Shane brought his findings to WWE's executive committee, which includes his mother, Stephanie, and several other top corporate officials, he expected immediate action. He expected the kind of swift response that any legitimate corporation would to such serious allegations. Instead, he was met with resistance. Sources say that Shane was essentially told to stay in his lane and not worry about executive matters. He was told that the situation was being handled internally and that his interference was unnecessary and unwelcome. Can you imagine a McMahon literally wrestling royalty, someone who's bled for this company, someone whose name is synonymous with WWE, being told to back off from investigating potential misconduct? Shane reportedly pushed back hard. He argued that this kind of behavior not only violated WWE's own corporate policies, but also created a toxic work environment for other talent who were being passed over because of this alleged relationship. He made it clear that if the situation wasn't addressed properly, he would be forced to take more drastic action. And that's when everything fell apart. The corporate cover-up. Now, we need to talk about something that doesn't get discussed enough. WWE's history of protecting certain individuals while sacrificing others. Over the years, we've seen countless examples of WWE sweeping controversial situations under the rug to protect their corporate image or shield powerful figures within the company. We've seen allegations ignored, complaints dismissed, and whistleblowers silenced. And according to sources familiar with Shane's situation, this was no different. Rather than investigating Shane's claims thoroughly and taking appropriate action if the allegations were true, WWE's leadership allegedly made a calculated decision: protect the executive, manage the optics, and eliminate the problem, which in this case was Shane McMahon himself. Let that sink in for a moment. Instead of addressing the alleged misconduct, they targeted the person who was trying to expose it. Shane reportedly found himself increasingly isolated within WWE's corporate structure. Meetings he would normally be included in, suddenly he wasn't invited. Creative decisions he would typically have input on, his opinions were no longer valued. Projects he was developing, they were quietly shelved or reassigned to others. According to people who witnessed this firsthand, it was a systematic effort to push Shane out of the company without making it look like they were firing a McMahon. Because let's be real, WWE couldn't afford the PR nightmare of openly terminating Vince McMahon's son over his attempts to investigate alleged misconduct. So they did what corporations always do in these situations. They made his life so miserable that he had no choice but to walk away on his own. And walk away, he did. But Shane's exit didn't mean the situation went away. In fact, according to sources, the alleged relationship continued even after Shane left. The superstar in question continued receiving preferential treatment. The executive remained in their position, and WWE's leadership apparently believed they had successfully managed to contain the situation. But they forgot one crucial thing. Wrestlers talk. Journalists investigate. And in the age of social media and independent wrestling media, secrets don't stay buried forever. The locker room reaction. Let's shift our focus now to how this situation has affected the actual wrestlers, the men and women who are in the ring every night putting their bodies on the line for our entertainment. According to multiple talent who've spoken off the record to various wrestling journalists, the locker room morale has taken a significant hit because of this situation, and it's not hard to understand why. Imagine you're a WWE superstar. You've worked your entire life to get to this level. You've spent years in the independent scene, maybe had a run in Japan or Mexico, grinded through NXT, and finally made it to the main roster. You're putting in the work. Great matches, connecting with crowds, moving merchandise, doing the media appearances, the whole 9 yards. And then you watch someone else, someone who hasn't put in the same level of work, someone who hasn't earned their spot through performance, get pushed to the moon because of an alleged relationship with someone in power. How would you feel? Multiple wrestlers have reportedly expressed frustration with management over this perceived favoritism. Some have even requested their releases, though WWE has been predictably tight-fisted about granting those requests. Because again, WWE doesn't like admitting when there's a problem. They prefer to keep everything in-house and maintain the illusion that everything is perfectly fine. But everything is not fine. The locker room is divided. You have some talent who believe the allegations and are disgusted by the situation. You have others who are skeptical and think this might just be internet rumors and backstage gossip. And then you have a group who, frankly, don't care, as long as they're getting their own opportunities. This division has created